Hey guys, welcome to the Wednesday Cardone University Mastermind. My name is Steve Sprague, coming to you live from the 305. This week we're talking about complaints versus objections, okay? Probably for salespeople, the number one problem that they run into, when we go out and we ask them, hey man, what's the hardest part about being a salesperson? We always hear objections. Teach us about objections. Teach us how to handle objections. How does Grant Cardone handle objections? We ask them, hey, what's your favorite part about Cardone University? Man, I love the objections piece. Well, there's also training in here on how to identify whether they actually are objections or if they're really complaints. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to break down exactly what Grant Cardone talks about inside the training program. And then I want to hear from you. I want you to call in because I need to find out what objections you get. So if you get objections in your business, call me up. Drop it in. That number is 305-865-6404. Oh, we got the old number. That was the newer.
It's there.
It's right there. You guys can see it. 305-865-8668. Those are the only two numbers I've remembered in probably the past 10 years, right? That's funny. 305-865-8668. That's the number. So, all right, guys, listen, welcome. We're going to be talking about this. I want you to call in because if you call in, you dial that number. I want you to drop in what objections you're getting. But I do want to show you inside the program, there's one video that I particularly like a lot. If you guys go in here, if you guys check out your theory of closing. Now, as always, I am going to recommend that there is not just one answer. There's not one video. There's everything that's in here. So if you're going in, we're going to be inside today, the 10 reasons closers fail. And it is one video in here that Grant talks about this, but I would tell you, hey, look, you should know every single one of these. You should know all 10 of these. You and your sales team, you guys should be able to practice and know every single one of these. Like, hey, why would a closer fail? Why would somebody miss a deal? If you know and understand all of these, then at some point, man, you can actually start to eliminate some of these problems. Particularly, we're going to be talking about this one right down here, number 8. We're going to be talking about handling objections that are only complaints. So handling objections that are only complaints. This is going to be one of the categories that is really important that you need to study and you guys need to get into that is going to be really big for you, for your job. So let's talk about this. You guys can call in, dial that number. I'm going to ask some of these guys right here. What objections do you guys get? Because these guys sell tickets mostly. They're up front. Like if you guys call in our office, I've got Amir, I got Natalie. They're taking phone calls. What objections do you guys get? I know you guys are going to drop down the price. Okay.
Get a better deal.
Drop price. Better deal. Is that big enough? Probably need to go bigger. Better deal. What was that last one, Amir? You said the last one? That was
Too much right now.
too much. Okay. Oh, yeah. Check that out. Right in all caps for you guys. All right, so look, so just think about it. So for most salespeople, they run into this problem where they're like, dude, I can't get the deal done because the customer's objecting. Oh, really? Well, what are they objecting to? Well, they said it's too much money. Does that stop the deal? I can still buy it, right? Okay, or maybe I just haven't seen enough value. You ever seen anybody who, once they did see the value, they finally said, oh, okay, let's get this started, like in almost every single case. Right? But they first complained about this. The one thing you need to know is that people are complainers. They're complainers. Okay, if you got a spouse, you know what I'm talking about. So they're going to complain about everything. If you got coworkers, you probably know what I'm talking about. You got people that complain like, oh man, you left the dishes in the sink. What happened? It's like, dude, it wouldn't stop us from doing business. It didn't stop you from doing so. You didn't have to take off. You didn't have to send in a PTO email. Hey, I gotta go home. John left a dish in the sink. Okay, it's just a complaint, man. It's a complaint. So why do you lose deals? Because you get hammered with these problems. So if you guys want to call in and tell me what you're getting, what you want to know is that, look, too much money means what? It means, hey, listen, I'm just complaining about it. So Grant has a whole category. I'm going to show you guys. You want to flip to the screen here. There's a whole category inside closing strategies right here where Grant talks about money closes, right? So there's 45 different strategies on handling money. So some of these are very simple, and they are based off handling objections as complaints, particularly like the agreement closes. Probably some of my favorites, probably some of the ones that I use the most, right? So like if you guys go into this first category, money closes 1 through 10, you're going to see agreement close 1, agreement close 2, agreement close 3, won't be the last time close. These are some of my favorites. So what happens is just simply, I'm not going to give an objection that is merely a complaint any more power, because once I do that, what happens is now it actually turns into a real objection. So, oh man, Amir tells me, oh, it's too much money. Oh, it's too much money. Well, Amir, let me tell you about my value proposition. And let me tell you the reason why we priced it so much money. And I'm going to tell you about all this. And I move back to my presentation. That is a flunk, man. I'm like, I've got this little teeny tiny problem that's about that big. And then me, the salesperson, not the customer, the salesperson takes this little dot and makes it about that freaking big in the guy's mind. And then now the guy's like, yeah, no, hey, listen, man, I actually don't know if I can really do this. And then you start going back in, hey, listen, man, hey, can we do something about the price? Then he gets uncertain because he's like, well, dude, was I getting my head ripped off at that number? I mean, the number that we're at right now? Dude, so uncertainty sets in, and this thing just keeps growing and growing. It's like back in the day, man, when you guys used to get a pimple, nobody even knew it was there. You were the only person in the world that knew it was there, and then you start messing with it, and you start picking at it, and it just freaking bothers you, and then guess what? Then it gets so big that the whole world knows that you have it. Okay? That's what salespeople are doing with objections versus complaints. It's exactly what happens. It's exactly what happens. Hey, listen, now, what about a better deal? Is this an objection? Does it stop me from doing the deal? Maybe I'm on the wrong product. So there's a difference of what they say versus what they mean. So a customer says, hey, I can get a better deal, tells me, man, dude, number one, are we on the right product? Are we the right company? Is there something that we're missing? Like when you say you can get a better deal, what do you mean by that? It doesn't, like, here's the reality on somebody saying they can get a better deal. They're on the phone with you, or they're in your store. You're at the Verizon store. You're like, man, I can get a better deal at T-Mobile. Guys, just look at the situation. He's in the Verizon store. So stop freaking out about it. Just, you guys need to understand that you gotta not, I understand you can get a better deal, but you knew that before you drove over here. Okay, you've been wanting to do this, let's get it done. It's that simple to just overcome. So the rules on handling objections versus complaints is that you don't handle it. You just simply acknowledge it. Acknowledge, right? So this is the first thing that I want to do. I want to acknowledge it, right? So what's an acknowledge? I understand. I agree. You're right. You're right. Okay, now, some people are like, man, I can't do that. I got a sophisticated customer. Dude, I'm on the most sophisticated deals there. I guarantee my deals, some of the deals that I do are with way more sophisticated people than what most of you are probably dealing with. And by the way, whatever business you think you're in, you need to go back to the basics where Grant says, dude, you're in the people business. You're dealing with people. You're dealing with a guy who's just complaining. Oh, the price is too high. The terms are too high. The terms are too long. This is crazy. I can get a better deal over there. Dude, I understand, but look, you knew that before you drove over here. Okay, let's just get it done. You've been wanting to do it for a long time. Okay, and watch some of this dissolve. Now, if you don't believe me, start trying it. Okay, start trying it, because what you need to do is just simply acknowledge and then go back in for the close. So, what's another objection that we could get?
Not right now.
Not right now. Hey, dude, I understand not right now. I get now's not the time. The reality is that there's never going to be a good time for you to do this. So let's just get it done. That way you don't have to think about it. That way I don't have to call you back on it. That way we can just commit to it. You can be done. Not right now. Dude, I understand. Look, listen. You knew that this event wasn't going to happen for another 6 months anyways. Okay, you knew that before you got on the call. Why today? Why now? Okay, you knew that. Let's just get it done. That way you don't have to think about it. That way you're committed to it now. That way you don't have to check your calendar. That way you're set up already for the event. Okay, do we have a caller on there? Yeah, let's hit him.
It's Martin,
Nice.
UK.
Martin from the UK. What's up, my man?
Martin, can you put the volume down?
Let's keep this up.
Okay.
Martin, what's happening?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's going great. How's
Yep.
it going with you, Steve?
Oh man, I'm doing amazing. Hey, let me ask you this, man, before we get into your
Yes.
question. What objections
Yes.
do you get in your business that stop you from getting deals?
To be honest, I'm not really getting objections, but most of the time complaints. Like,
Nice.
I don't have the time right now. But wait a second, you pick the phone. So, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. See,
right.
he's just going into it with the right mindset because he does the training all the time, right? So he's burying himself in the material, right? So he's thinking the right way. Like that should be the response. Hey, man, what objections do you get? I really don't even get them, man. I just get people complaining. You know, they complain now's not the time. They complain they're doing business with somebody else. They complain that blah blah blah, right? So what are some things that people tell you? Complaints.
So, could be we already done it 2 weeks, let's say 2 days ago, but I understand you've already done it 2 weeks ago or X days ago. Then I'm just going to leave you with the quote and see if you can get it any better deal. And yeah, I mean, just agree and transition actually.
Yep, exactly.
Acknowledge and transition.
All right. So we've got doing business with someone else. Now, I'm going to use this example because this is exactly what every single one of these people on this call are getting all the time. They're calling somebody up. They're telling them about their product. They're really excited about it. My handwriting is crazy on here. So what happens is this, is they tell you, hey, nah, we're already doing business with somebody else. Dude, that is a complaint, you know? So, Martin, the people that you're calling actually, how long do you think, because you're calling businesses, right?
Yeah, I'm calling only businesses.
Yeah. How long they've been in business? Do you think the average company? 10 years, 20 years, 30
20
years?
years?
20 years. How many insurance companies do you think they've had over the course of 20 years?
At least 5 or 6.
Exactly, at least 5 or 6, man. So just ask them about that. Hey, look, you know, you just switched with somebody. You're using them right now. Is there something that you like that made you switch, man? Listen, you know you're going to switch at some point again. You know, hey, listen, at some point in the future, you're going to switch. What do you like? What excites you? You know, so this is where you got to see these things, guys, as complaints, right? So, Martin, what question did you have this week?
Yeah, so Steve, I got a question. So how can I raise prospects' interest level so high so that when I transfer them to my senior consultant who's doing the presentation of numbers and closing the deal, so the prospect, when I transfer him, the prospect is so close to making a decision, so my senior consultant has almost nothing to do, just sign a deal, that's it.
Yeah.
So my target is to be much easier for my senior consultant to close more leads that I pass to him.
So what you want to really do is you want to get the guy sold on that first call that you're on.
Exactly. Yes.
Right? Now, how do you
Yes.
what do you know? I'm going to start asking you questions about Cardone University. Do you know what controls the sales cycle?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What controls, what word does Grant use, controls the sales cycle? What controls the sales cycle?
Getting the answer.
Answers to your questions. Okay, so questions and
Getting the answer.
exactly. Questions with answers, right? This is how I get somebody sold because I can get to a dominant buying motive. Now, when I first make the phone call, I'm up here, right, in the conversation. I'm asking the first question, you know, and it's a big claim. It's very generalized. It's like, I'm like talking in the clouds, man. I'm like, hey, 30% sales increase. Maybe you're selling mattresses and you're like, hey, listen, you're going to improve your sleep by, you know, times. You're going to get 6 more hours of sleep compared because you're going to be sleeping at a different level, like whatever, dude. It's big claim, nothing technical at this point, right? So what happens is as you're moving down, I'm going to use like, hey, how, when, why is way down here. And I'm gonna start finding out reasons why, and I'm gonna get down here to technical questions, right? So when I get down to the bottom and I figure out, hey, listen, man, and I gotta start asking them, hey, listen, let me ask you this, man. I'm gonna put you in contact with a guy who is an incredible expert in this field. He's gonna get all technical questions answered. Let me ask you this, man. What's one reason why you would switch? So I'm going to start moving into like, hey, why would you switch? And then guess what question I'm going to ask them? Why not? Hey, why would you not do this?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start digging in. So questions control the cycle. Questions control the cycle. The person who gets answers to their questions actually controls the cycle. So what happens is you need to dig in. You got to be able to ask it. It's like this all happens in a conversation. So hey, we can save you another 20% on your current premiums that you're paying right now. If you were into that, would you give me 10 minutes? Well, we're not interested. I understand you're not interested. Listen, you took the phone call. You knew we did insurance. What I want to do is show you what we can do to help you out. Assuming we could save you the money, would you be open in the future to switch? Well, if you could, then we might be open to it. Okay, good. So now moving down, right? Hey, so how do you guys structure your insurance plans? Why don't I have that information in front of me? Well, if you knew, what would you say is the most important thing? I mean, what do you guys look for when you go to these deals? Hey, when was the last time you looked at it? When was the last time you traded and switched something up? This is the same thing. So like, guys, you should be taking notes right now at home if you're selling mattresses, cars, cell phones, if you're selling B2B products. Dude, when was the last time you guys looked at changing something up? Well, we typically never do it. When was the last time you did it? Well, we did it 10 years ago. Dude, what happened that made you guys want to switch? So you guys dig this stuff, man. You got to rip into it. And then, hey, look, why would you go with me? What would need to happen in order for you to say yes? And why would you do that? Let them talk. Let them answer the questions, by the way. And then you want to find out, hey, why would you not do this? If we could, let's just say, because I know we can save you the money. I know we can, your big claim. I know we can do this for you. I know we can do that, blah, blah, blah. Why would you not do this? And start figuring out what's up, man, so that way you can get them sold on that call before the next one, man. Does that help out?
Yes, definitely.
Nice. Thanks a lot for calling in, dude. I really appreciate it. So, look, he had a great question, guys, on, what we're doing right there with fact finding. Next caller.
Yep. You got Melissa in Idaho.
Nice. Melissa in Idaho, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for asking. What type of business are you in?
I do two different businesses. I do motivational speaking and coaching, as well as commercial real estate consulting for retailers.
Nice. And what can I help you out with this week?
Yeah, what I'm trying to figure out is how to. I've gotten really good at handling objections for commercial real estate, but I'm trying to figure out how to take that and implement that into my speaking business.
Perfect. So how do you get leads for your speaking business now? Are they calling you, or do you reach out to them to speak at their events?
I primarily reach out to them to speak into their event, and this is something that I just expanded into recently. So, like, for instance, I just started cold calling on it. I'm not even kidding you, yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like I said, I'm learning the objections, and I'm sure that, just like you talked about, they're all the same. It's just a matter of how to go about approaching them. So I got some pushback yesterday, and the deal's still very much alive, but the project that I reached out to is ironically connected to the 10X movement.
Nice.
And they said, hey, we're fully booked. These are objections I heard. We're fully booked for this one. We may be expanding and doing another one, so check back with us after this event. We'll be doing another one maybe in a different state.
Okay.
So that's the objection that I got, and I was like, what's fantastic about this is very much still alive, but I need to really digest these new objections and figure out how to go about approaching them as I continue to cold call.
Well, I think so. So when you go into master the cold call and you guys go into like the follow-up programs, you're going to learn the stats, and that's why the stats are always up front, because it's like really important. So only 2% of calls are closed on the first call, and so like you got to know that going in, and like the whole reality of the situation. Like if you just step back and you take your personal feelings out of it, and you just look at, hey, what is this? You've got somebody who doesn't even know you. And then you've got you saying, hey, I know you guys, I can solve a big problem for you. And then they're like, whoa, okay, well, wow, we never really thought about that. We're not really interested right now. Right? So if you just like look at the situation, right? So like you're at the top of the funnel of what I basically just showed. So you've got like your big claim where you're like, hey, I can come in and I can do something crazy for your event. That would be huge for the people that are going to be there. Now, when I go into providing a pitch, I want to show you guys this on the program, on Master the Cold Call. The cold call process. Have you taken a look at this part? The cold call process? Yes. Good. So when you go in here, Grant talks a lot about the big claim and especially the qualifying and fact finding. So what I want to ask you, Grant talks about getting to a dominant buying motive, the DBM. What problem would you actually solve for that company?
So what I would solve with them is allowing them to figure out the importance of self-motivation and furthermore understanding the process of continued incremental growth. So what my primary signature talk is about how I rebuilt my life and went from one of the lowest performers in my firm to one of the top performers in my firm, all after having 14 surgeries back to back, including brain surgery, and only being able to be upright for 3 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So how that relates into people is it gives them the ability to understand the process of continued growth, implementing deliberate changes, and also self-motivation is the primary 3 key techniques that I give them.
Okay, good. I love that. So did they know that they had this issue?
Say that one more time.
Were they looking for this to solve this problem, and then like you reached out, or you thought, hey, I could add a bonus to their event, and then that's why you reached out?
I thought I could add to it, so I did some fact finding with the facilitator here and said, what would be the decision? Like, what would cause you to make a decision? And what are you guys looking to fill since you ran this event a couple times? Mm-hmm. And what he said is basically. He knows my signature talk because I submitted a video for 10X stages. Yep. And then he also said, what we would be looking to do is bring in some more female speakers and having somebody that is very much supportive of the 10X brand coming and talking. So those are the 2 fact-finding things I've got, but he would not, and it's probably my own fault because I'm still trying to work out the script. Sure. Tell me that this was a deliberate thing that he is getting challenged by.
Yeah, so this is what I do when I build scripts. I try to dig deep into like what problems do they really solve. So I heard one that's probably an actual real one that I think like we need more female speakers. Okay, I think that's a huge dominant buying motive for you. What was that other thing you said? The motivation. Like if you just simplify it, what would you say?
If I was to simplify their motivation to hire me or my motivation to provide to them.
Yeah, what like your big claim. When I asked you what the big claim was, you told me that it was like helping people understand the motivation. But like, how do I shorten that?
Finding ways to stay self-motivated and execute deliberate actions to increase their productivity.
Okay. So like what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start listing out my dominant buying motives of like, hey, what problems do I actually solve for this group? Now, the one thing that you may feel best about is the self-motivation. Like this is what you got to look at when you do that. Like you should do inventory on this whole list. Like there's way more, there should be more than 2. I'm just doing 2 for the show today. So you should do, but you may think, wow, I'm an unbelievable self-motivator, but maybe like that's not the real thing. That's like maybe they would bite harder on this female speakers thing where it's like, hey, we don't have any of those yet. And so you lean into that part on your pitch. Like there's things that I know about Cardone University that I never even talk about. I don't think they'll actually understand it when I do talk to them until we get them on the program. So I talk about things that I know like has a punch to it, where a guy's like, oh, I would listen to that. Like, I'm just gonna automatically think that these people, like maybe they got a 3rd grade reading level. Like, I need to speak to them like they don't know anything about what I do, because the reality of the situation is they don't. So like, I've got to hit on things they can get excited about. And maybe I talk about, dude, a female speaker would bring another probably 30% increase to the people at your event, and they would be females, right? Which would be better for your deal, right? And then, oh yeah, maybe he's like listening now. They're paying attention. So I don't know if that's it. I'm just using that as an example. Like, there should be a list. And then when I do my pitches, this is where you got to get real with yourself. So when you're doing a cold call, you got to go with the hard realities, right? So number one, they don't know you, do they?
We're connected on Facebook, but that's about it.
Yeah, they don't know you like that. They don't know you, right? So
yeah. So
that's one thing. So I'm gonna get to a point here that's gonna help you communicate incredibly on these calls. Okay. What else? What else is a challenge for you, right? Like, how many speaking events have you actually done?
I've done probably about 10, I would say. I primarily do virtual speaking, so in that case, I've done over 300, but in person, probably about 10.
Okay, good. No, this is going to help you out. So I'm going to start looking at like all the reasons. Like, this is where you got to take like your own ego out of the deal. Like, why would they not do this deal and not talk about it? Because they're not going to tell you like, oh wow, she's only done 10 events. I'm not really certain about that. So the way to get somebody certain about those things is to tell them what they're thinking. So I'm going to tell somebody like, hey, you may not even want to talk to me right now because you don't know me. And I can understand that. So I'm going to start increasing the reality that I have, right, with them. Where it's like, hey, you don't know me. And you guys are probably even concerned I've only done 10 events. Is that true? Like, this is how you get people's reality. This is where certainty starts to go up, because then they're like, yeah, we were actually thinking that. Yeah, well, good. Well, you guys didn't know about the 300 that I've done online. Okay, you guys don't know. You guys don't know how often that I do this, right? So I'm gonna eliminate, right? So like, they have this idea, like it's like when you know somebody has an issue with you and you call them out. It's like, hey, do you think I'm ugly? You know, or it's like, you know,
Steve, I wasn't gonna say that to you, man. I'm sorry.
I know, but you call it's like when you got like a booger hanging or something. You're like, man, this guy's looking at me kind of funny, and you're like, dude, do I have a booger hanging? And they're like, yeah, you do. And then it's like, and then all of a sudden, like, it goes away. Laughs about it. And they're like, oh my God. And then it's all funny, right? So like, you got to call out the reasons why. Like, you need to know, hey, dude, and you need to be honest. Hey, you guys don't know me, do you? You know, and that's my fault. I should have reached out to you sooner, but I'm glad we connected. That's why we connected on Facebook a couple months ago. I seen what you guys were doing. I was crushing it in the speaking space, and I figured that you guys would want to see me, but you might be concerned that I've only done speaking events on stage. Is that true? Yeah, that's it. Well, that's because you guys don't see what I do online as well. I've done over 300 of these. I've got 200,000 people following me right now. And this is where, like, so this is what happens to it. It goes away. And then it goes away. And so concerns start going away, and then I start going back to these big claims again. Then I'm like, and then I'm going to start going hard on them. Guys, you need a female speaker, right or wrong? Yeah, we do. I'm the only female speaker on the phone right now talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
I love that.
You know what I'm so this is what calling is. So like, this cold calling thing's very deep, but it is very easy once you get into it, because you're like, oh wow, I just got to like be real with them, and I got to drop some big claims, and I got to know how to kind of work those into the conversation. So hopefully that kind of helped out what you're doing. Did you have any other questions?
So if you were to, and I know this puts you on the spot, but that's why you're awesome. What would your big claim or hook be if you were to like cold call me right now, acting as me? What would that introduction sound like?
Well, so I'm going to reverse this, and I'm going to go, what does that company want? Do they want more people? Do they want more people to charge higher? Some people don't want more people. They just want to provide, like, they can only charge X amount for their tickets, you know? So maybe you're like a value add. What do you think that they would want?
I would say, you know, especially since it's the 10X movement altogether, right? GrowthCon's a great example of that. The 10X movement primarily is, hey, we need to sell tickets, and we need to make sure that we get omnipresent. So I think that would be the most important thing to them.
Yeah, tickets and omnipresence. How many tickets do you think you could sell?
I could easily sell people that I personally know a good 30, 40. And then in regards, and that's just like local community wise. And then in regards to, I imagine they probably repurpose this content, and those sales would go up substantially. I've got a following of about at least 10,000. And then if you look at that from the perspective of how much more their sales would go up by having more female speakers come in, I think Elena is the only one that really speaks heavily outside of GrowthCon. So expanding that presence, I think, would be a huge attraction. Speaking as a female, she kills it on stage, 100%. But bringing another female speaker in to speak alongside her, I think, would help the 10X movement in a way that cannot be articulated nor really mapped out.
Yeah. So you're trying to speak at the 10X GrowthCon, right?
No, I'm trying to get at impact players on this, but 100%, yeah, I'd like to do GrowthCon.
Yeah,
sure.
so like the biggest reason you wouldn't get an event or be coming on stage is because you don't bring enough people, enough audience, right? So like that might be a challenge on your side. So like what our dominant buying motive is. Like our dominant buying motive is selling tickets, right? So like anybody who's doing the event, like they want to sell tickets, right? So what I would try to map out in your speaking business is, okay, great speaker, like let's just super simplify this. Like maybe you're great at mowing lawns, but if you don't have any lawns to mow, it doesn't ever really matter. And if you don't know anybody to reach out to and you don't have the equipment, you can't ever get a lawn mowed. So it doesn't even matter, right? So it's like you're a great speaker, but can you bring people to this event that don't yet know about their event? Can you add a value to it, right? So there's a lot of great speakers out there, but that's not the biggest problem that the event coordinators have. So what I would do when I call up is I would figure out a strategy anyways that would try to 10X that. I'd try to get 400 people, and I'd call up and say, hey, I'm Steve. I'm giving you a call. You don't know me, but the reason I'm reaching out is because I'm a keynote speaker. I currently speak on motivation, which I know solves a problem. I've got, female influence, and I can bring about 400 females to your next event. If I could even do half of that, would you give me 2 minutes right now just to chat and find out whether it makes sense for us to continue the conversation? And I just go into a tiny little pitch right there. Again, big claims, big ideas. I dropped the female thing. I'm going to bring in 400 people. They're like, wow, okay. Yeah, tell me more about that. Now you're in the deal.
Okay.
Well, so here's what and then I go into presenting. So now I'm like, okay, good. Well, here's what I do. I do these online speaking events. I've done over 300 of them. I get X amount of people to go to them. I've got a loyal following of people who will show up anywhere I go. Guarantee I can get 400 people there at your event. Okay, and so we're not even talking about you speaking yet, So now they're like halfway interested. Like we solved their problem. This is what I explained up here when I was like, it may not be the thing that you think is going to solve the problem. Like the thing, you may know something about your motivational speaking that nobody else in the world knows. Grant Cardone doesn't know about it, but if Grant Cardone knew about it, he'd want you on the stage. But that doesn't matter because the only thing that's going to get you in front of him is what solves his problem to begin with, right? So that's where you got to look for what problems do I solve for him. Then you get to throw on the extra sauce, and that's where you get to raise the money up. That's where it's like, whoa, okay, she can bring 400 people, and she's an unbelievable speaker. And then you're like, yeah, and it cost me $25,000 to speak for 60 minutes. And they're like, whoa, didn't expect that. Well, yeah, you didn't know what I was bringing. So now that's how you increase the money on the deal. So hopefully that helped out. Thanks a lot for calling in. Really appreciate it. And let us know how that goes, actually.
I got one more caller.
One more caller.
His name is Angus in London.
Oh, nice. Angus in London. How's it going?
Hey, Steve Spray. What's going on?
What's up, buddy? Man, what do you do out in London? You follow Grant Cardone.
I work in what we do is we sell software for raffles and lottery charities.
Nice.
But I've been following GC's content. I've read all his books, Cardone University, for like the last probably 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, nice. Well, cool, man. Well, what question do you have for me today?
We were talking on Instagram. I don't know if you remember, Mr. BPT, and I was saying I wanted to maybe share like a sale I made.
Yes, we did talk, man. You sent me that message. Yeah, man, I'd love to hear what successes you've had.
Yeah, for sure, because I listen to a Mastermind every week, normally on replay because I'm in the UK, but one of the things I find most helpful is listening to people that, that call in and share their stories. And, I massively appreciate you giving your time every week to do this, and I've learned a lot from you, and, Jared and Dave and all the other guys as well. So
nice.
I was working in telecoms a couple of years ago, and I've been following the Cardone University, so I'm just on it every day. And I've made a sale to a guy. I sold him 4 broadbands. He called me back a couple of days later and he ordered another 4. I just really focused on servicing him, helping him out as much as possible. Got them installed over like a 2-week period. And then, GT says the main thing is follow up with people. So followed up with him, said, hey, Dorian, we delivered the project. Everything went well. Have you got anything else I can help you out with? He sort of said, yeah, we've got a big problem. We've ordered these lease lines for our whole European company, and we're being really let down right now. So I said, well, look, we've got the best lease lines in the industry. We can give you the best price and the best service. So how about I send you across a quote? He says, okay, let me talk to you about all the locations. 3 weeks later, I signed a £1 million deal.
Wow.
For 26 lease lines across the whole of Europe for this guy. So it was an £800 order that turned into a £1 million deal, from servicing the guy and following up with him.
That's a big jump. That's a huge jump. That's 200.
Yeah, man,
that's 200. That's 200,000 pounds
every day. Committed, doing the segments, getting pumped up every morning, and trying to be a pro, trying to be the best at what I do.
That's right, man. Dude, hey, thanks a lot for that. That's awesome. So look, you guys got it. Like what he's doing, what he's saying. He's like, I'm practicing every day. I'm always asking. I'm always going after. Somebody called in with an 800-pound order, and I think I'm not sure what 800 pounds is in US dollars right now, but let's just flip it. Let's just say it's $800,000. So we've got, that deal comes in. Most people would be like, I mean, I know you guys, we'd be like, oh my God, an 800-pound deal. Like, dude, how do I close this deal? And you be running, right? But this guy he knows the Grant Cardone. If you don't have always, then you end up with never. So this guy's like, dude, I got to always ask for more. I got to get to a dominant buying motive. I got to figure out what the real problems are. I got to find out, like, dude, hey, are we on the right product? I'm going to offer a model up. I'm going to offer a model down. I'm going to get to the real thing right here. And all of a sudden the guy calls him back and says, yeah, hey, look, you know what? Actually, we want the $1 million deal. So like, guys, you guys got to always do this. If you don't always do it, you're not going to be able to see things come through. It's like, if you guys go out to the ocean and like one sign to be able to know where whales are, like obviously you can't see underwater. So one sign to see where the whales are is like where the birds are, right? So that's a sign. As a salesperson, like, dude, if you don't understand the birds coming through, you don't know that the whale's in the water, so it doesn't even matter, dude. You're going to miss the shot. Free Willy's going to fly up, dude. And you're going to be over here on Instagram. So you guys got to understand, look, dude, you guys got to study this stuff. Is he still on there?
Yes.
Steve.
What's up, man? What question?
Yeah,
what other question do you have?
One of the worst things about that deal is the office, the haters pop up. This guy got lucky, right? But what they didn't know that day, I was mainly outbound on telecoms, but now and again the phone would ring, but people snap the call up, right? So
yeah.
I move the telephone next to my mouth. I make sure that as soon as the phone rings, beep, bang, I got the call.
Bam, you get it.
From 9 a.m. until 4:30 p.m., I transferred calls to the whole office, no sales. I'm about to give up. 4:30, boom, grab the next call, let's buy something, and that turns into a big sale. So everyone has said I wanted to get lucky, maybe it was a fluke. It was the biggest sale the company had ever done. It was actually...
Well, that's what they're all... They will definitely say that. They will offer in every sales office on the planet, dude. Amir got a big deal the other day, man. The guy like, oh, dude, it's, hey, he got lucky. He got lucky.
Yeah, well, haters are a good thing, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. It's, you go from hey, dude, what happens though is that the people it's funny that the luckiest people are the ones who always have the most activity. It's funny that if you go back and you track and you see the most dials, the most answers, the most contacts, the quickest speed, those people always end up lucky, man. So, dude, thanks a lot for number one, calling in and telling us about that. Number two, dude, that's such an example of what Cardone University teaches. You know, so like this guy's paying attention. So man, thanks a lot for calling in all the way from London, dude. That's beautiful. So guys, this week we talked about knowing the difference between complaints and objections. That was kind of like the main focus. Know that this could happen anywhere. If I'm calling up somebody for my speaking business, I say, hey, I want to join your event, and they're like, well, we're not really interested right now. Dude, that is a complaint. That is not an objection. Like, they don't know yet. When the value exceeds the price, people buy things. But if that they don't yet know the value, there's no way that they make a decision. That follow-up has to take place. That's why you being certain. That's why you asking hard questions. That's why you getting to a dominant buying motive. These things are so vital and so crucial to every single one of your deals that, look, if you're not doing them, you're going to end up only getting just the low-hanging fruit. Like our guy that just called in right now. That guy was putting in all the work. I guarantee he got all the low-hanging fruit too. And he got the big deal. And everybody probably hating on him. They're like, dude, this guy just gets lucky, man. This guy's the luckiest guy in the world. Dude, he's the guy doing the most too. He's the guy who's freaking interested the most too. So you guys can increase your interest level. Write your goals down every single day. Keep your commitments in. Do your 6 training segments every single day with Cardone University. I guarantee you guys are going to start getting more lucky. So can't wait to see you guys back here every Wednesday. We're doing this. Every Wednesday, we're doing this right here. And if you're here, you're watching this, that means you're interested. So hang in there with us. Keep studying. Keep better. And guys, we'll see you Wednesday on the Cardone University Mastermind.